Alright, so welcome back, guys. Real quick, let me just hit some of these texts. So we got a text that asks a question: why are kids paying for textbooks when this high school and so forth has a $9 million budget? That's something, definitely a good question that needs to be posed to the minister. Of course, the system does provide for free education. I don't know if books and everything is included. Sometimes we do have to pay a little bit our own way to get moving in life. This other text said something about people need to pay according to the job, the criteria, the type of jobs they had. That's what the last caller was just saying. That a lot of these lawyers and so forth that are coming in the country making big bucks, $200,000, $300,000 a year, should be the ones paying, you know, this $175 for visas and so forth, if they need a visa. But you got to be very careful. Not everybody that works in the BVI need a visa. Visa is only on some of the other countries that, you know, visa restriction were placed on. I know there's a large number of countries around the world that need visas to get in the BVI, but not everybody that live and work in the BVI, no matter what job they have, is required to have a visa. There's another text about one of the trust companies in the BVI that says is hiring a lot of folks from Bangladesh. And the rumor is that, you know, trust companies are allowing people, or getting people in the country. The people are being trained by the folks who are already here, the locals and so forth, and then the locals are being let go. My answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we have a very smart group of guys that are running the government right now. You know, the Minister for Labor needs to look into that. You know, we need to have some action in the country. If you feel like this is happening, you see these things are happening, it's a trend with one company versus another company, we should start really like, you know, calling the minister out to take action. And I think really and truly a lot of these visas need to, a lot of these work permit need to really be screened. And I think the minister said something about looking at some of them, and he even talked about, I think a while back, about some of the open employment in some of these businesses need to be reported. I think really and truly the government needs to require, it should be written in some way, in some policy, that once you feel you have a vacant, it must be reported to Labor Department, and that way the Labor Department is up on top of these things. Farmers are also, this also goes to the same minister. They said farmers are waiting on the minister. They don't want to know why the minister haven't really got to the farmers yet. Food security, Mr. Minister, I think is what they're talking about. Food security. You know, we talk about financial services, we're talking about tourism, but we're not talking about food security. And a lot of our people, you know, people, ladies and gentlemen, you really have to stop and ask yourself. There's so many people right now that are sick, hurt in the BVI, and people dying, and nobody really telling you why these people are dying. Some people believe it's because of some of this food that are coming in the country. A lot of this food, and even in the United States right now, that's a big problem. In some of those areas, you hear them talking about, you know, foods that are really like laced with all this stuff to help it grow quicker. Look at some of the chickens that we eat in this country. The chicken could be like a month old and it look like it's already 2 years old. I mean, somebody really needs to look into that. So the farmers are crying out. You know, it's now what, 10, almost 11 months. And so the farmers are asking the minister when they're going to have that meeting, you know, to talk about food security. And we still have a greenhouse up there that are sitting around doing nothing with. I saw down in St. Lucia they have They have, I think, one of those Asian countries assisting the folks down there to help raise fish. You know, that's just an idea. I'm not saying we have to go raise fish now, because we do have a big ocean, but I'm saying there's a lot of things, and some of the things they're doing in greenhouse or in controlled environment, and the greenhouse could be used for a lot of things. Bus service, somebody asked, when is the bus service, or what's happening with the bus service that was put in place by the last administration. I see buses running. I see buses running in places they ain't supposed to be running. I took a picture of one the other day, just yesterday, up by the hospital. There's no bus stop going up around the hospital grounds, but all I could say is I don't know what's going to happen with the whole taxi commission. I know the chairman of the taxi commission resigned, so hopefully we'll get a new chairman in place. We have a new gentleman that's in charge of some administration, enforcing policies and so forth. Hopefully we'll have him on the show sometime coming up, and he can give us a little bit more information on the whole livery taxi service business, bus services in the country. I would like to see a really good run bus service myself. I mean, I'm in the transportation business. I'm not in the bus business. I'm in taxi, but I would like to see where you have dedicated buses running on dedicated routes, stopping at bus stops, picking people up at a designated time or selected time, you know, and you have a number of guys running back and forth on a bus route, you know, running real bus service, not guys who say they're running bus service and you see them all the way down in Frenchman's Key, down in front of Frenchman's Hotel, and there's no bus stop down in those places. The bus only, as far as I know, the bus stops only run on the main road. But again, everything in this country that you see going wrong is because of lack of enforcement. So for years we got a new bus policy, a new taxi livery policy, but people could just do whatever they want. I mean, right now there's no control on anything when it relates to that. So just keep your eyes out. Again, there's been some changes. MB, I think he resigned. There was a big write-up in the paper. I'm looking at it right now related to that. So hopefully we can get a new chairman in place, and we have some guys now in there that are already going to work, and we can get this going. So apparently there's been some kind of issue up at the prison. This text came in and said they want to know why there were so many officers up there with machine guns and pointing the guns and thing at prisoners. There was also another text that talked about, you know, some type of disturbance up there. The guy, another text said there was any disturbance. There was just people, you know, rallying for their rights. And so, you know, the governor and the minister for I think it's education really have to do something about the prison. It's boiling over now. Whatever's going on up there, I don't know. I don't go to the prison. We get a lot of texts in here every time we come on this show about prison. There's obviously something going on up there. There's something with the leadership, the management, prison rights. But at the same time, I mean, somebody needs to do something. You know, you can't have people up there in prison that haven't been charged. That has to be against some type of UN charter. I can't imagine that, you know, you could just be picked up, assumed to be guilty, and not given a trial, and you haven't been charged, and you locked up in prison. Something has to be done about that. So the minister and Mr. Governor, you know, His Excellency, you have to do something about it. I mean, you can't wait till when, you know, expats go up there and then you give them a getaway card because they're expat and you feel like the environment may not be conducive to them. So you got to look into it. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
So you talk about the prison, and I'm trying to understand, while you're talking about prison, you're talking about the Minister of Education. What role does the Minister of Education really play in relation to the prison? Because the governor is the boss of national security, and at the end of the day, the buck stops with the governor. So when you compare the governor's responsibility to the minister's responsibility when it relates to the prison, how does this work? It seems to me all the minister can do is talk. At the end of the day, if the governor ain't for it, it's not going anywhere. So, see if you could help me understand, or the public who's just like you don't understand, what role, what power, what authority does the minister have as opposed to the governor, who's the big man?
Yeah. Well, Carla, that's a very good call. I'm not going to pretend to be the expert here, I'll tell you that. But the prison does fall under the Ministry of Education. So there's some administration, there's policies that could be put in place. The minister does have a very active role in good operation and good governance at the prison. Yes, the buck does stop at the governor pretty much with everything in this country. I mean, the governor sits in cabinet. You know, they say he doesn't have a vote in cabinet, but when you really think about it, at the end of any meeting or any discussion, the governor is the one who still have to say yes or no. So, I mean, the governor, yes, the buck stop at him, but at the same time, we're not going to bypass the responsibilities of any minister for any of their departments or any portfolio that they hold. They have a responsibility to make sure that good governance is adhered to in those departments. I mean, basically, when those guys go out and do what they have to do, try to formulate other policies that can help run the prison or agriculture or labor or whatever. If there's a problem here, the governor can interject and put his 2 cents in. But these guys are the managers. They're the one responsible for making sure and trying to get the thing going properly. And then at the end, the governor, yes, have the final say. So we know that, but I still think that the minister himself have a lot of strength, have a lot of power, he have a lot of leeway in policy decision and so forth. So the prison does fall under the Ministry of Education, and again, nobody's passing blame. This person, these 3 texts basically was just highlighting the fact that there was some disturbance at the prison. They wanted to get some answers as to why, you know, there was such a hostile environment up there. The superintendent, they said, had called in almost like a SWAT team. They said the guys up there with machine guns pointing at the prisoners and so forth. I don't want to take side on any of this because I wasn't there. I don't know if the prisoners themselves were causing the disturbance, and I don't know if the superintendent or whoever else was responsible for calling in the troops just wanted to exercise their power. I don't know, and I'm not going to be sitting here trying to judge anybody. But all I'm saying is that between the government, the minister and the governor, and whoever's in charge over national security, they really need to do something about the prison. The prison is overcrowded. You know, they're now using the immigration custom detention center to house prisoners. You have a little section for women that probably is also overcrowded. There's not enough space to move around in that prison. They need to start consider building some new buildings. And none of this thing, we don't hear anything about this. So something needs to be done, my friend. Something needs to be done. So between the governor and the minister, they can get it done. And all I can say is, I like the minister himself. I think the minister is an action man. And I know right now his hands were tied with the whole school thing. We're working on getting the school kids back in school. We want to get these youths off the street. We want to give those who need some technical training along with a little academic, some reading, some math, some English, and so forth, get them on stream. We want to get them into some of these workplaces. I like what he said the other day, that we got to do something for our youths. Then we got to get our youths them employed. They need to be gainfully employed. They need opportunity. So you know, I haven't really seen any other minister really pushing agendas for the people yet. You know what I mean? I haven't seen it. And I see one person so far really out there pushing, you know, whether you like him or not, whether you like some of what he's doing, the point is he's out there, he's trying, he's pushing these things. You know, I watched the House the other day, he was talking about the young man that went to the Olympics. I spoke to that young man myself, and I know there was a big issue with him going to the Olympics, and the minister stepped in and he gave that young man an opportunity to get to England to compete in the Olympics. He didn't qualify, but he went as an unqualified person, and he had a great experience. So, you know, we need that. Sports need a lot of attention. I mean, we could do so well in sports in this country if we only had the backing of the people and the system. So, but I think we have somebody. Again, I think he's an action man. So I don't have anything bad to say about him right now, other than You know, he's working. So again, that leads us to again what we were going to say earlier about the new school year. Speaking about the same minister, the minister has introduced some ideas, some new focus for our school kids. There's going to be a class taught in financial management, financial services. I saw the book. I had a sneak preview of the book the other day. I hope I'm not preempting that, because they said the minister was supposed to do that. I don't have a copy, so I can't show it to you, but you know, one of our local lawyers was contracted to put together this wonderful book. I opened it, I looked at it, I read one of the pages, and I think it was a great idea. Financial services is a huge deal for the BVI. If you don't understand that, you need to understand that. Financial services and money management and wealth management, offshore banking is huge for the BVI. I mean, when you look at what's really happening in the BVI and what the government has to do to make money, financial services is where it's at. Our tourism product right now needs a lot of lift. And until we get to that point, financial services is where it's at. So, but we need to make sure that our kids are part of that growth. You know, we got so many bright kids right now in high school, the ones in 1-1 and 1-2 and 1-3, all these kids, all our kids are bright. All of them have a place. But the ones who are gifted, who have the ability to go in a classroom and open up an accounting books and quickly understand the formulas and understand the whole principle of accounting, they need help. You have to start introducing the concept to them now, so they can move forward, so we can start growing our professional team of people and put them in those places. So the fact that he introduced that into college, into high school, I think is great. Also history. I said earlier, I hope that the great premier, the good premier, had an opportunity to even took some of the information from his own mom. I mean, a woman that's 94 years old, even all the folks who are over 60 in this country have a lot of information to share about history and the development of the BVI. And just imagine if you could put that in a place where all kids them could start being cultivated right now. Let's get to the phone real quick. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Good night. How are you?
There's something I would like to talk about concerning this visa.
Okay.
Naturally, we used to pay $25 for our visa. And one time to $150.
$175.
Total $175.
Yeah, $175.
I'd like to know why it has to raise up so high one time. Because the American visa, which is more value, more than the US value, is $131, and you get that for 10 years.
Yeah.
And a BVI visa, no value much, because when you go to St. Martin, if you have American visa, you choose. If it's a country that you use visa, and when you have that means they no value. The wage and the American visa, $131, and you could get it to 10 years, and you have to pay $175 for 1 year. As for me, a family of 4, I have to think about spending $700 for the next visa that we're supposed to receive. I mean, man, that's really rough, man.
Yeah, I understand totally. I understand. It's a question we're gonna put forward to the system to find out why it was so drastic. It is kind of drastic. I mean, somebody said it's about 600%, a 600% markup.
600%, from $25 to $125, man. Never in history ever see that.
Yeah. Well,
really rough.
Carl Alec says, I remember just recently we had a situation, and there's something about it in the news when it relates to the driver's license being tied into the work permit. And many people voiced their concern on that, and the good minister for communication and work presented a policy paper, and he changed that. So
yes,
community people...
I get back my 3 years too, so I appreciate that a lot.
Exactly, and the government still win, because you still got to pay for your driver's license, so the government made money on that, but at least it eased the burden and the stress of not being able to drive and still continue life as you should do without having a driver's license. So, but again, what my point is that people like yourself, we had another caller, if the more people that can call and raise the concern, raise an alarm, I believe the government is in a position where they'll listen and try to figure out a solution to deal with it.
Yes, it's really
the rough. If me go and deal with my permit and after what a family of four, me still have to go over back and pay $700 again for a visa. And you just get 1 year, and 1 year just by a clip of finger, it just gone again. Yeah. So I would like to really know why is it even dearer than the US visa. It's one of the most expensive visa right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for the call. So I guess, you know, that I know the visa thing is going to be a burning one. There's probably a lot of people out there right now that it's affecting. I think it's only right now I know of folks from Jamaica, Guyana, Santo Domingo that are really being affected by that. Why it went from 25 to 175? You know, that's a question for the policymakers. That's a question for the people who are responsible for making that decision. But again, I can only assume that it's about making money, it's about raising revenue, despite the fact that it might be hard on some people. The government is reducing taxes on food coming in and other products coming in. When you start reducing here, you gotta kind of raise somewhere else. So that could be what they're looking at. I don't know. I wasn't there when they made the decision, but it's good that we are able to bring that out and people are able to talk about it and ask those questions, because again, like that guy said, it's 4 people in a family. That's $700. That's 350, 170, 150, 175. Yeah, that's $700. So that's pretty tough right there. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please.
Good night. How are you doing?
Good night. How are you?
I'm fine.
All right. All right. Talk to me.
In my humble opinion, I feel like that $85,000 should have been spent on a book that will teach us, the people, what government is going to do to rebuild and stimulate this economy. You understand?
When you said $85,000, now you're talking about a contract.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think the contract should have been spent on developing the course for the whole training?
That's too much money, Sam. And they say they have people come on their door knocking for work, knocking for food, knocking for clothes, knocking for shelter. Those things more important too. Because you can't build a country without the people. It has to be balanced.
Okay.
Don't sit down in an office and got somebody crying and talking them hat out to you for 45 minutes. Have mercy for the merciless. Them thing hurt me when I listen to them in the House of Assembly saying them thing. You got one man over there on that side that I know. When you call that man run his skeleton. He ain't gonna got you in there talking no 45 minutes. He gonna put his hand in his pocket and he gonna say, hey, and he gonna help you. If I could sit here on this talk to because the truth. And they got another man over on the other table and he going to put his hand. I could call them name because I say nothing bad about them. They're going to put them hand and they're going to help you. And we need to have more people than that have people sitting down and they're talking, and they're coming out with tears in them, or they're coming out with a toothpaste showing you that this toothpaste said they might God sell it. And I feel that anything that those men come and they ask in the House of Assembly, no territorial representative should get up saying, but why are you asking so much? He needs to learn about the Constitution. Because they have a right to ask these things. So that we who out here on the outside looking in could know what's going on in there. Yes, they know them things, but they're asking for themselves, they're asking for the people. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Well, that's what they're there for. They're representatives. So if they don't represent, who's going to represent?
Thank you. But I feel that when one of them territorial, because they don't call no name, say how money should come out, the band members say for $1,000, 15% supposed to come out. Why not say the people and what we bringing in, when we bringing in them big time star here? Why don't ask them for 50% discount? Why want to kill you, Smith Smart, like who's making $1,000? Look how much band members he have there. I mean, if he had turned around and said, okay, when we take out the 15% discount, we could turn around to the people and then like when they're paying 25, they could pay a little, say, trickle it down something to somebody. You know what I mean? Don't come tell me you're trying to save not something for the festival committee. What about the poor people and what trying to go in, they go enjoy themselves for the emancipation?
Yeah. Well, just
feel about it.
Just so you know, that was one of my questions. What was your take on the debate in the House? So I'm glad you were able to open that up. But just for clarity, you know, anything that's spoken in the House, that's the people's house. So you could call whoever's name. If somebody stand up in the House, it's record, it's public record, and they make a statement, all you gotta do is quote the statement. You're not saying anything bad about them. So we gotta hold all our representatives accountable for what they say anyway.
Yes, it was Mr. Ashley Christian who get up and said that. And I said to myself, it seemed like this man don't understand the economy.
But is it wrong though? Is it wrong for him to ask vendors, hey, let's work together? Government has been contributing for a long time. Government has, you know, government do a lot of stuff. They sponsor a lot of events. They sponsor a lot of things going on in the country. I mean, when you think about really what's really happening in the country, it's the result of government. Because right now the private sector is not giving up any money. So government is doing a lot, but all government is asking for is a break. You think that's wrong?
Sam, don't kill the small man. Go to the rich one them. Take it from them. Don't kill the small man because a band have 20, 30 people in it. What $1,000 to do? $15, $20 in each man's pocket? You still want tax that? Lord have mercy, man, Sam. I can't side with daddy.
I understand. I understand. Definitely.
You don't know how far that one little $20 got to go. How much little mouth that $20 got to feed. You go buy your little flour, your baking powder, your sugar, your water, so you can make a little Johnny cake and feed the family for probably a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What do you think about the governor's when he made, you know, the government speech that was presented by the governor, talked about you know, trying to help the people reduce some of the costs on taxes and so forth of products coming in. I mean, you somebody that go out St. Thomas a lot and shop. You sound like somebody that called and said, you know, at one point you coming in, they were trying to charge you a lot of money on taxes. What do you think about that?
I like his speech. His speech was good, and you know, it didn't even, it just speak for the rich and even the poor. You know what I mean? It was just something that was balanced.
Yeah.
So I like his speech, and I hope that those men come through and do those things for the people. You understand?
All right.
Because everything is for the betterment of the people and the country. We got to rebuild and stimulate this country.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, Carla, thanks so much, eh? All right, I always like when I call a call. She's always on point with some of the stuff. So, but I must say, Carla, that you know, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to touch on when we come back from break a little bit on the whole book thing. I think the book thing, the financial services book that's going to be presented to the high school kids and so forth. I think that's a brilliant, brilliant idea. And for $85,000, it's just me. I don't even think that was enough money. Because I know if the government had to contract others from outside and give an outside entity that whole deal, man, they would have been raking in millions, you know, because it's a long-term thing. Not millions, but you know, a lot more than $85,000. You could bet your life on that. So if she was able to do that and it's successful, it can stimulate the minds and the growth of the young people and encourage them to get into what's really making the BVI what it is today. I think it's a great deal, but that's just me, and I respect what you're saying. We just have to find ways to circulate the money. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.